Midstream! Nothing went wrong.
Spank their bottoms with his...
We'll see if this one works.
The naughty children's. Yo-rio.
It appears to be working better. So I learned on the Linux version of OBS, you can't switch the audio or the video format while it's recording, which of course makes sense. But I tried it anyways.
Okay. You're gonna have to go back when you're editing this. You'll see what I'm laughing at.
We'll just use this will be the thumbnail.
Oh man, HR needs to be going through that.
You want to give your endorsement of the audio again since we had to restart?
That was really bad. He grabbed his head and everything.
All right, tell us how good the audio is now that we're on Linux.
Oh, good enough for Batman, apparently.
Maybe this is the right one.
It's not anything to write home about.
I don't think that's Linux's fault. I think it's my mic's fault.
I think
get the guy.
Right. It's unfortunately, I think that Linux natively has less to work with when it comes to
but that's the
drivers.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I actually do genuinely think the video looks better than it used to.
Yes, for sure.
And that it may just be due to the fact that on Windows, when I plugged it in, the video showed up right away, and I was like, oh, hey, nice and easy. But then I never looked into it. Whereas, as with all things Linux, it didn't play nice to start, and that meant I had to look into it, which means
I probably work harder, and then you actually get what you want.
Well, yeah, I probably could have gotten better results out of the other version of OBS if I had tried. But because it was so easy, I didn't try. It proves my point. I think I was talking about this the other day. When things are easy, they're worse. When it's hard, you actually have to put some effort in, and then you end up getting better results because you put effort in.
There you go.
But that being said...
Leviticus dating advice today.
That being said, we still are getting some frame rate weirdness. I cannot find a version of the video thing that does not have some frame rate weirdness. The other one did too, and that's when I tried to stop it mid-recording. It's not recovering.
After the little children's.
She is das Kindersnatch. It seems to...
Making the favorite treat for rhino men to enjoy their meat.
Don't! It seems to recover okay on its own from frame rate troubles.
And soon we'll join you quick.
Don't make this... Don't rhyme with that.
I wasn't going to.
You would have. Don't lie. It would have occurred to you and you wouldn't have stopped yourself. Okay, you and me, meat boy. How about best 2 out of 3? So we seem to be okay-ish on frame rate. Video resolution seems to be way better. Maybe that's the cause of the frame rate problems.
2 thumbs way up.
If I look more into this, maybe I'll find a reason to live.
He said no to that.
But in any case, yes, we're running OBS on Linux because I'm running Linux on this machine. That was a half-hearted swipe. He was just going for the crack. He wanted the goods. Buddy, if you want the goods, you got to come and get them.
If you may come again.
If you like it, you got to put a ring on it, mister. I got a ring you can put on it.
Wow, that got dark.
You don't know which one I'm talking about.
I can't.
Oh, where are you waiting?
They're waiting for more of their spankings.
Well, now we know what they get up to in here.
Sleep through the night, unless the rhino man is giving us a good beating.
We're just making things worse. Okay, y'all just need a timeout. Every dadgum one of yous. Bat Daddy's here to break some elbows. I'm gonna use my belt, and it's made of metal, so you'll feel this for the rest of your life. Okay. These guys are actually surprisingly easy to clear. Come at me, bro.
Oh, hit him. He's blind right now.
I don't think he is. I think he's sulking.
Blind with rage.
Well, That'll do that to you. Blood flow restrictions and all. Come on, charge at me.
He's ragingly blind.
No, I said charge, don't saunter.
That was more of a...
Woo, oh, rude. And we got frame rate weirdness. The main concern is that it doesn't seem to correct itself as fast as I think it should. Woo! Okay. We're good. We're good now. 5 variation bonus. Good for me. I have no clue where we were in the story.
I don't know either. I can't remember.
And somehow he was here alone. You said you had thoughts, or do you want to talk about Linux and how it forces you to be a better person?
Well, I think Linux by default even setting Linux up initially requires you to actually use command line and command prompt. I mean, that's that in itself, or the terminal, if you want to call it that. But I find that alone, most people don't even know how to begin with that, much less actually doing it. But can I just speak to the absolute sadness that is our IT department within companies right now? I literally called in. So I was initially going to switch to Linux on one of my computers, and I decided to actually just take it back to factory it was a Mac, an old iMac. And this will tell you how old. I literally had to boot it back to El Capitan.
I don't know how old that is,
That's literally like 2007.
No, I don't think that was that old.
Oh, it is. I assure you. It's old enough to the point that my Macintosh stopped supporting them, which...
Well, that hardly makes a difference.
Yeah, and I knew that. But...
All right, I forgot I could do this now because Batman's the Roid machine.
I called, and I was like, hey, I recognize that you guys don't support this OS anymore, which is why I can't find it on the App Store to be able to reload
Well,
it.
what made you think that having a problem with an Apple device would be easiest solved by going to Apple?
Well,
That was your mistake.
my point is...
You thought Apple would fix your problem.
No, I understood that they weren't going to specifically be quick to say, oh, yeah, we'll fix that for you, because the whole point is they've outmoded that particular OS.
How do I...
So the issue was, when I went to take it back to factory settings, somehow the partition that was supposed to carry
There it is.
the OS reboot did not have that. So it literally just bricked itself for a good 2 months. And I had to go through the rigmarole of essentially downloading and making a bootable USB of El Capitan. Now, it was not specifically easy, and I did have to use the command prompt for a great number of things. But I was sitting there on the phone with a man at one point, and I realized the moment that I started talking about the terminal, and I was like, hey, I've already tried this code line, so if I can have you do this for me, or if you can tell me what went wrong with this. And he was like, it was so obvious he was reading off of a script, it hurt my feelings.
Well, but that's all they know how to do.
And then I called in a different time when I had gotten further in the process, and I was like, hey, can you help me? Can you guys help me out with this? And I was like, I have this operating system, but I'm trying to boot, OS 10.11, which is El Capitan. And the lady on the other end of the line was like, I don't know what OS that is. And I'm like, well, it's El Capitan, and it was from 2007 or whatever. Recognize you guys don't support it anymore, but this is what I'm meaning to do.
Well, but see, I think you brought this on yourself.
He said, here, let me put you on hold because I don't know iMac. I'm like,
yeah, well, that's funny.
You're an Apple technician, quote unquote, and you don't know iMac? I'm sorry, what?
Well, she probably wasn't alive in 2007.
And so she put me on hold, quote unquote.
I don't know how to get out of here.
5 minutes later, I was hung up on. So I was up a creek.
I don't know what you thought would happen, because it's one thing to go to Apple for any help ever. It's another thing to go to Apple and then tell them, I know you don't support this. You're generally so helpful. But I thought maybe you'd help me out when I don't have a supported software here. I would have thought
much help. It's that I expected more competency.
Well, but okay.
If they would have given me an argument like, hey, no, we're not going to help you out with that, because
that would have been your best bet, though. That would have been the best thing that could have happened, is they just outright said, we don't support that. Go find it out. Well, then why'd you even bother? If that was your best bet, you could have just said, well, I'm not going to get better than them telling me no.
Well, I guess that's true. So then I ended up having to go.
Should have gone to the internet. Go to Stack Exchange. They have all the knowledge.
Then I ended up.
Or Substack, whatever they call it.
For
I cannot.
And now I have that computer working again, and I have a USB that is going to have that bootable El Capitan file on it for ages, because I find it ridiculous and absurd that I can't go back to whatever operating system I so decide.
Well, that's never been quite, even with Linux, that would be hard to do. If you're talking about, like, I'd like to go back to a version of Linux from 1990.
No, you should be able to wipe a partition and go, hey.
Yeah, but there comes a point at which the actual physical hardware can't even do that.
Why?
Because software and hardware aren't separate.
Well, they are.
No.
Yes.
Not entirely. Like, there comes a point at which the processors used back then and the
right aren't big enough for the modern.
Well, no, I'm saying it's not just that.
The modern stuff.
Well, yeah, but you're expecting
compatibility.
Well, no, but that's not because they're not going to design modern processors to operate the way old processors did. That's why we have new processors.
Well, of course.
So the idea that a new processor should be able to do something an old processor did is actually not a correct judgment.
No, I'm not suggesting it should be able to do what an
old where I'm going.
Processor does. What I'm saying is, if it does it better.
But but saying they don't function the same. It's not just this is the same processor but faster.
No, I understand that.
No, this is a completely different thing. So trying to get it to communicate with the old software won't work. Because at some point there is a bridge between software and hardware.
Sure, I'm not denying that.
And so at some point the software has to be able to communicate to a physical object in the computer.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so then my point is, if the physical object can't communicate with the software because there's too large of an age gap,
The specific issue, I suppose, is that, especially with the computer being from that era, it shouldn't have been as difficult for me as it was. Like that, to have to literally build a completely separate bootable USB image in order to actually get.
That's not an I would expect that to be required if you're talking about something that old.
Well, I don't know. I found it.
This is explodable, apparently.
Anyway, so that's how my last couple weeks was. I did that.
This took you several weeks?
No. Several days, but it was several weeks ago. It did take me several weeks, but it wasn't. It did take me several days, but it wasn't because it was ridiculous. Not because I attempting. It was because it literally took several days. It actually, in order to get the computer was so great that in order to get the.
What did this accomplish?
The tracking, apparently.
That didn't accomplish anything.
In order to get the USB drive built, I had.
Or did that just maybe that got something out of the way?
But it was still functional.
Oh, come on.
So that I can actually.
Are you for real? I can't climb up that. I gotta use a batarang. I think maybe that just got that thing out of the way. Okay. You know, one would think if I had a bat claw, I could just use it instead of doing this weird hopscotch routine. Apparently my bat claw is not long enough. It's the first time that Batman's ever heard that. There we go. Now I can get out of here.
Arm of his law is not able to
It's a long arm, for sure. Let's move off the subject of the bat bone.
Anyway, but no, I am not.
You are not.
I am not familiar.
Therefore, you don't think.
With the ins and outs of Linux to really weigh in yet.
Well, I'm not either.
I would say that Linux certainly has more potential for doing exactly what you want to do simply because you do it.
Well, but you have to know what that is.
Right, exactly.
It won't do it for you. You have to tell it what to do.
Which is refreshing.
Which means once you know what to do, then it's easy. But getting to know what to do is hard.
It's a bit akin to back when they made cars functionally.
Talk about that.
Repaired. versus now when it's like, oh no, there's so much, you know.
Well, computers, I hate them.
Well, not just computers, but also
It's just computers.
actual way that they build the block into the engine bay is absurd now. Where it's like, I gotta take off 9 different plastic pieces in order to get to this one part.
Carbureted and distributors. That's what I'm doing.
What do you think you can do?
Because that's really what it's at. That's really the problem. That's what I think the reasonable limit is. Computers in cars is a problem. Not electronics, because electronics can be as simple as you put power to it and it does this. That's fine. But computers which think for themselves, I don't want in my car anymore, because they're always wrong. And when they break, it's almost impossible to fix them, because they won't, oftentimes your car will act like it's not working when no physical part is broken. It's just that your computer thinks a physical part is broken, and so it's not behaving properly. Wee. Ouch, okay, getting shot. Lots of shooting. Up my jacksie. Serpentine, I don't even know where they're coming from. There, he's one of them. Okay, challenge run, I've got 1 health point. Nope, wrong building. I have to go over there, which is where the snipers are at. Something tells me I'm not going to make it. I'll try it, though. Maybe I will.
No, I did a fair bit of...
Ooh, not what I wanted, not what I wanted. Ah, rude. I've got the clap. I've got the plant clap. The Venus fly clap.
Wow.
That's actually the ultimate name for it, because you get Venus in there and fly, because of course, and the clap.
Just the clap.
You did research on what?
On why it is that, especially and particularly in
You will pay that man
westernized
for
culture, we have less
Ooh,
clear
polyps.
When I finish with that
structures or
Snipers.
I'm trying to just
You're trying to run straight down a hall full of snipers. I mean, this might work, but only because I'll take pity on you. Look at him fumble with that. Well, I mean, can't throw too much shade. I guess it works. You are down to 1 health bar.
bag of weed.
Ew.
So you're here at last. Do you like what I've done with the place? My babies are growing, Batman. Come and see.
So on rite of passage specifically, the idea of particularly young men getting some sort of a, hey, this is a moment in which you are no longer a boy, you are moving into manhood. And I find that sad. There's not really a clear-cut plan or even structure for that.
Because they don't want men at all.
That's the overarching narrative, certainly. I was going more on the microcosm of, okay, how do I get around this?
Well, what do you think you're supposed to do? You just walk into it. That's not going to work. What was that A button? Well, give that a try. Oh, that's the door button. Well, I've done all I can do. Cut it. Isn't this like part of her weird plant body? Tickle it, see what it does. I guess you could maybe try to yank it with the claw. Or batarang it. The Ultra Bat Claw. Or maybe you just jump over it. Look up above and see if there's anything you can grapple to above. Looks like there's not.
Okay, I'm a little bit thrown. I'm so strongly thrown.
Well, there's a vent there, you doofus.
What?
It's obscured by the bushes, but there's a vent.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's just yet another symptom of the collapse, to be honest.
Well, that's true, but then I within the context of that research, what am I doing with this?
You're going up.
thing?
No, that doesn't matter. It's just a thing that doesn't actually make an impact.
Hey, buddy.
Whoa!
That's for days.
Polyps took the last health point you had.
Oh,
Hello.
take whatever health points you need.
I'll take it. Oh, you can have every health point I have.
10,000 points.
I have no more points to give. Well, at least I'll ever have to do that.
Here at last. Do you like
So I looked up some different rites of passages within cultures, and I found they, not surprisingly,
The Spartan.
I'll kill you for that, man.
I should hope.
I don't know what I mean, maybe Indo-European, like super proto, you know.
What does Indo-European even mean?
It's like, it's
Because it seems like that covers quite a
Oh,
lot.
it does, 100%.
Like European, Indo, where's Indo? As in like India?
That I don't.
Because that would be like most of, like if we're talking half of Asia and all of Europe, that's like a quarter of the earth.
Right, but it was like Vikings, Norse, and
How are they Indo?
and Germanic, like that. Those three, to my understanding, that
I-
makes up Indo-European.
I think it's more than that.
Are you hungry, my poor baby?
Well, it's tea time in Wonderland. I don't know.
Specifically found a rite of passage that I'm interested in from the Germanic culture called Männerbund, which is basically just man. What is it? It's like it's almost like brotherhood, but not. It's
This seems unusually easy. Is she setting up a trap for me?
like it essentially just means like a men's
Are you
or
ready?
like a brotherhood.
Do
is
you
that?
think you can help?
Okay, that's not so much a rite of passage then.
Yes, but the way that the
Ooh!
culture did this is they would go out and take the young men that were a part of that that were coming into
We're getting probed.
I see that. Feel like,
And you're okay with that? You're up for that? That's okay?
well, depends on how much you pay.
This might as well happen.
Is that
I gotta
they
do this
take
electric
these
thing
young
again.
Men, whether it's 10 to 12 or whatever, I think it's 12 to, or it's 10 to 14 or whatever, depending on how old they are.
That is how that would work.
But I'm saying it's different for every kid, to my understanding, within this culture. However,
Get
they
ready.
bring them out to this
Every
event
time
called
you kill
Motherland,
Batman just
and
makes
it
me
basically is them going away for like 4 days.
I
to a
already
week
shut this off.
with all just strictly men, and then at one point, the men basically pull away from him, and he has to survive on his own for a short period.
Well, that's what a lot of, I mean,
2
I
days,
feel like that's,
that. And then, so like he has to do hunting and, all those kinds of things all by himself. And then from there, when the company re-engage him, then they engage him as a man, and essentially within the context of the group, now he's proved that he is able to take care of not only himself, but others. And
seems like that's a common thread.
it is. I was just curious what your thoughts were on that, because I feel that number one,
cannot
on a
get in.
more precise level, less of like the broad brushstroke. Like I don't want to just go, hey, that's indicative that our culture sucks, because that's true. But I mean, I want to be able to revitalize that kind of culture again, where men actually call other men forward and up, as young men especially, and then the ones that, and I actually was discussing this with a gentleman this last week, where I'm like, I want to be surrounded by a brotherhood that actually is able to, almost on a mob-like level, call me out when something's going wrong and literally show up at my door and basically say, dude, what are you doing? I'm going to...
The polygons for these things in detective mode are a little bit low res.
Anyway, that one in particular, I don't know if you've done much research on
I
the
know.
Norse
I mean, that's basically, that seems to be largely the same as most of the other ones.
Oh, really?
Just as far, well, I mean, it's kind of an obvious way to do it. You're just going, can you actually survive? Can you?
Well, I know, for like the Vikings, for instance, they would literally have them go out and raid their own village. Not their own, but I'm saying like raid a village on their own is what I meant.
Oh, well, yeah.
And within
Should have it do that.
Then they as men
Talk about father-son bonding. Let's go commit a crime, son.
Well, obviously in their culture it wasn't that, but like they would literally go and not only.
I mean, I feel like that's a loose defense. As long, it's like, yeah, privateering. You know, just they're not us, so therefore it's not a crime. It's like, well, I guess you're not. I don't know that that's the defense you want to use.
But I'm just saying, the argument.
Fine to steal from people as long as they don't look like you.
What I found interesting is that when they went out to go and do this, not only yes they're pillaging and kind of thieving from their surrounding areas.
Paint me like one of your French guards.
But when you come back, not only do they introduce you as a man, but you literally could, at that point, potentially have like multiple wives that you're bringing back, as well as
2 days in the woods.
and things like that. No, I'm talking about for the Vikings where they would go and pillage and.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you going to find these wives after 2 days in the woods?
Like, you could literally come back and have a full life like planned out and ahead of you, like, which I found interesting. Not again like it's a picture of what you would do, but it's certainly
okay. So if you're saying that, then what would you suggest that isn't that?
Well,
I just phased through that door.
he's got messiah complexes, but
What?
deal with that.
What? I don't think that's what a messiah complex is.
Phasing through the door as a.
That's not okay. That's not what a messiah. No.
No, I'm saying he's.
That's okay, but a messiah complex is an actual psychological thing, so you can't just. I don't know how to feel. I won't deny how I feel. Ew. And now we're back in Zelda.
I am stronger than you, little man.
Right, which of these things do I gotta kill first? I need a glowing weak point. That's my Zelda instincts talking.
Caught like a bat.
Yeah, never mind. I need a glowing weak point. Oh. I suppose that should have been the obvious glowing weak point.
Gotham will be mine.
Oh. This feels a little bit silly. These are suspicious noises. I don't think this is just me. I think there's something suspect going on.
This whole thing is suspect.
Well, I mean, Poison Ivy as a character has been suspect for her entire existence.
I did come across something that I found of value, and I wanted to know your thoughts on it. is to that end, as far as turning boys into men, or even in a modern context, if you're interacting with men by standard age and social status, they are men, but they actually aren't acting like men. Like,
They just deserve a strong smack.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to bring that culture back, where it's like, I will lay you out.
Well, you would have to get rid of 1/3 of all laws. I'm of the opinion that you ought to just be able to smack a guy and not have that. I mean, it seems a bit of like a sissification of like, oh, that's a crime, you can't hit someone. I'm like, I understand you can't beat someone to a bloody pulp for no reason. But like, I should be able to smack a dude for talking crap and have that be like, no, I'm not going to get in trouble for that.
Right, exactly.
It should all, because I mean, back in the day, before we had so many unnecessary laws, you'd essentially have it where it'd be, you'd get into a fight at the local saloon because a guy was talking smack. Everyone would see it, and if you ever did have any kind of trial about it, they'd just basically be like, yeah, we all saw what happened, and yeah, we think it was reasonable. Oh! Okay. Oh, is this a Mario boss fight? Do I have to do it 3 times?
So,
Ew!
this is a concept that I felt appreciated. I don't know where you sit on the concept of allowance for your children.
I have none, so that's not...
One of the things I found interesting was that there was a men's kind of group that I follow that talked about the idea of, as you're raising, young boys into men, that rather than giving them allowance, you give them something to produce with or to make money with. So it's like, the guy gave the example of something a little insane to me, where it's like, give them a garage and then make them actually say, hey, I'm going to staff this with like a new up-and-comer, mechanic, and I own the garage, and basically then I use this.
How old of a kid are we talking?
I mean, he was talking about like literally if you do this at like 14.
I don't think so.
And my argument is, I think that's neat in that you could cause them to realize that.
Well, that's also, I think, super. That's a bit 1%-y, I'll just say it that way. Because it's like, yes, I'll just buy a garage for my 14-year-old son.
Then my sentiment is, what can you do to give them a way of making money rather than giving them It's like, I kind of like that idea of saying, as they get old enough that they're...
I think it's perfectly reasonable to make them get a job.
Well, but see, then here's his argument with that. He wanted to, this particular, guy...
Well, I mean, if you want to try and argue that's like, you don't just... Yeah, sure, I get that to an extent. But it's also a little... You would then have to be capable of starting a business yourself.
No, agreed.
You can't just then throw your kid into that.
Of course.
And so that requires a certain level of experience and capital on your part, which is not reasonable to just say the average parent should do.
But I mean, how easy would it be, like even for something like this, what I put it down to is, rather than something as extravagant as, hey, here's a piece of property and now you're going to be able to make money with it, it's, in the context of teaching them a trade or whatever it is, where they're not anybody's employee, but they work for themselves. It's something...
Yeah, depending.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, for instance, you buy them like a lawn. I mean, that sounds silly, but then they literally have the opportunity...
I mean, hopefully you have a lawnmower.
Right, but I'm saying you invest in something that allows them to essentially get out...
They lease the lawnmower from you, and then they charge the neighbors for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean...
So
this would have to be so... I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all thing here, though. It would have to be you'd have to set up a different thing for every kid, because every kid's gonna be different. I mean, I think it would make perfect sense to me if you already were like a successful, it's like if you already had your own business, or even perhaps several businesses, it would make perfect sense to be like, okay, put your kids to work and be like, you're going to work basically for me, but this is teaching you how to actually, it's teaching them to run a business without throwing them in the deep end. It's like, technically you're working for me, but I am teaching you how to do this.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking is don't.
But that again still requires that you have that to start with.
Agreed, which is obviously.
I mean, that's a decent, it's a decent,
ask.
no, I mean, that's actually a decent kind of,
You're dead?
Speaking of which,
what's the word? Like, prod for yourself. To be like, you've got to be successful, not just for yourself, but like for the future.
yeah, for teaching your kids how to do it. And so this is what I'm saying. As I got to think about this, I go, it is true that I.
Hang on a second, you've done something to your audio.
What?
Your audio's not coming out.
When did that start?
I don't freaking know. We haven't changed anything.
It's literally stopped going.
Scarlett, what? What do you mean? It stopped? The box stopped?
I'm not getting signal on my mic, not from the actual box.
So the box has failed.
What is happening right now?
Is the box even on? Is it receiving power from the computer? Well, why am I... Now I'm hearing an echo.
Because I'm off.
No, I'm hearing an echo. Am I coming out of the monitor? My mic is coming out of the monitor.
That's very strange. Am I there now?
No.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Is it coming through the box?
It's coming through the box.
Well, I mean, I can try you because if you disconnected, then it's not going to know where you went.
Totally disconnected. I'm sorry.
So I'll have to put you back on.
Check. Hello. There I am.
Well, oh, stopped again.
Oh.
Did the box shut off again?
It's still there. It's still happening. So I don't know.
Why did it switch to me?
I don't.
Oh, you're back only sometimes.
That's because it's on. It's got gate settings on it, like mine, like yours did. That doesn't.
Why does it keep switching input?
Hello, there we go. Is that? But see, that's
That
a gate.
No.
Yes.
Yours is separate from mine
But
now.
I'm saying that weird little bar that I'm seeing, that's a gate. I'm seeing it, looking at it.
This?
That's
That's always been up here.
Bar
This one's me. This is you.
I'm not. Yeah, I know. That one right there. Do you see
This-
the bar that's following? Is that just a peak measurement?
What bar are you talking about that's
The bar
following?
that's right underneath the actual.
That's because yours is in stereo.
Okay, well.
So that's just the stereo thing. Well, who knows how long that was happening? Glad I looked down.
Well, that's obnoxious.
Well, we may depend. I mean, if that was like
Do
a.
a brief overview just to make sure that everybody.
Well, who the frick knows when this happened?
I don't know, but we were talking about men stuff and raising boys, right? And I was saying it's necessary to actually do it well. And then I was watching a podcast that talked about raising your boys to be leaders and not employees. So rather than giving your kid an allowance, give them a way of making money. There you go.
I am annoyed. If that's a long enough gap, we may actually have to like go back and dub it in.
Well, I mean, from your mic?
No, I mean like now that we know that it's fixed, we could just go back and fill well basically as if we were watching a video of a previous recording. You'll just have to watch the video back and fill in the audio that we were missing. No, that won't work because now we've come back. See, that won't make sense.
It's okay.
We'd have to basically scrap everything and start and just use this footage, but then talk over it. I don't know what we'll do about this.
Well, more than likely, it'll just be on your mic temporarily.
It probably, but it won't be because we set all the things to make your mic not show up in my mic.
Make a prompt that just says, this is what happened.
You'll have to intuit what we were talking about from only my portion of the conversation.
Well, and what I just stated.
Well, yeah, but that hardly covers everything we were talking
Well,
about.
that's true. I'm just saying I agree.
That thing doesn't run off of batteries, does it?
No,
Well, then why would that have happened?
I don't have any idea. I agreed with the sentiment that it is important, and as you said, it gives you a little bit of a motivation to become more successful on your own rather than depending on others and the system in order to make yourself.
Oh, the system sucks. I can tell you that much.
Well, that's true. But I'm just saying, I enjoy that kind of industriousness and instilling that in your kids so that they feel like they actually are people that can make their way in life rather than essentially having to follow where life takes them, if that
Sure.
makes sense. So anyway, that was a thought for you.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a broad one.
Is it?
Well, kind of, because again, I still think that's the kind of thing you'd have to make. There's no one size fits all for that kind of a question.
Well,
I think it's entirely dependent on your family and your kids. Each individual kid, not just your kids.
Sure, but I mean, do you not feel like the actual sentiment, even if you had to adjust?
Well, I mean, I'm actually not in. I don't really believe in the concept of an allowance. I think the kids do chores and then you pay them.
It's because you live in the house.
Yeah, it's like you're going to do housework and you'll get paid for that. So, I mean, in essence, you're giving away to get paid then. Now, obviously, you could make the argument that's like, well, that's not a real... That doesn't equate to earning a living. That doesn't necessarily teach them how to actually...
Well, to me, that's allowance.
Well, yeah, I mean, allowance is not just, you exist, so here's some cash for this week. It's like, no, you're actually going to work for this.
Right.
What?
I agree. I'm just saying the idea that you would teach them to do something.
Okay. Apparently I didn't resist strongly enough. Now I'm going to be paranoid. I'm afraid now I keep checking to make sure that doesn't happen again, or something else weird. Or, I mean, back in the day, you just got a job at like 15. You'd mop floors.
I agree, but again, then you're building an employee, not a...
Not necessarily, though, because I think you're going to have to start somewhere. I don't think there's anything wrong with when you're 15 learning how to just... At that point, all you're really learning is how to do something you don't want to do for something you do. It's teaching accountability and responsibility more than anything. Sure. It's like, do you want cash for, your stuff you want? Like, if you want to buy your own music or your own games or your own whatever, then... You have to earn that somehow, and that teaches you the fundamental lesson of life in that nothing's free. Yeah. That's what you're learning at that age. You're not learning how to be an entrepreneur. You're simply learning, do I want to just, be at home and take life easy, or do I actually, trade my effort and time for the things I want? Because otherwise the things you want really don't have any value if you haven't spent any of your own effort on them.
Right. Exactly.
So, I don't think, as a young kid, I don't think that would be a bad thing to start on. It comes across as a little bit, I'm not sure what the word is, to be like, oh, my kids, I don't want them to be employees. Again, it comes across as a touch 1%ery.
Sure.
It's like, actually, probably every kid should work food service at some point in their life just to learn to deal with that.
Yeah, I have never worked food service, and I am glad I haven't.
Well, but maybe you'd be a different person if you had.
Certainly.
Maybe you'd have I don't know. All I can think of is it would give you a more cynical view of life, but...
Well, yeah.
Well, but perhaps, maybe I don't want to sound like a downer, but I don't know that a more cynical view of life wouldn't be a thing to have. Ooh. He was asking for it there. Take me.
I don't know. I think that, at the risk of me sounding a tinge 1%ery, I feel that it's a positive thing to at least get your kids to, or set your kids up in a way that they are the higher competent on the hierarchy of competence. They are on the higher or the upper echelon by comparison to their fellow.
Well, yeah, but if they got a job at 15, I think that would still be the case.
Contemporaries.
Because most kids these days don't do that.
Well, but that's hardly a high bar.
It's high culturally speaking. What do you mean it's not a high bar? If it's higher than everyone else.
Wish it wasn't, though, because everybody used to have a job.
I mean, okay.
And I got a job at 16. It's not hard. It just requires that you actually take some initiative and do it. But I guess what I'm saying is I would have learned some of the lessons that I learned later on in life had I started as more of a leader and less as an employee.
Yeah, but you can't start as a leader. No leader starts as a leader because only bad leaders have always been leaders. Good leaders were once good followers.
Sure.
Because they, only by following do you get a good example of what leadership should be.
Sure.
Either because you're lucky enough to have a good leader or you are unfortunate enough to have worked under bad leaders. And then you go, oh yeah, that didn't work the way that guy did it. If I'm ever in that position, I'll do it differently.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think you can't just start out by saying you're going to be a leader, kid, without ever having to answer to anyone else. It's like, no. Then you're just going to be an egomaniac. If you've never had to follow anyone else's orders, you're probably not going to be qualified to give orders. How do I just get my health blasted away? This is so hard. I don't want to fight you. Get away from me, bugs. I am defenseless. That's gonna get me. Nope. Well, my first run I did well, and every subsequent run has been dreadful.
Sorry, love.
Yes, I know how to do it. She just doesn't do that regularly. Whew. The other thing to do would just be to teach them how to do things for themselves.
Again,
and then,
it's a trade.
So no, I mean, yeah, but not just, but I mean, if you teach a kid to be self-reliant in terms of just everything, teach them how to, then eventually eventually something will spark their interest, probably. If you expose them to enough things that they learn how to do, eventually something's bound to sort of sink their, get their, something they can sink their teeth in and go, I really like doing that. Then that gives them a path in life. Because they know. Because really it seems like the ultimate, I guess, like leg up in life is to just know what you want to do.
Right.
Because honestly, that's like half the battle is just like, what is it you actually want to do, and then just figure out how to do that. But figuring out what you want to do takes most people half their life. Ooh. Not sure what that was. Whoa! I didn't even see what happened to you.
I got a polyp.
Dead and buried.
Okay.
I'll leave that where it is.
It's already hot in here again.
Yeah, so the rites of passage thing and the idea that we ought to raise them intentionally, I think obviously the job has some to do with it, but so few men are actually, even those that are doing the basic, I'm going to say something slightly controversial here, and I don't know that it's out of place, nor do I think that most men would disagree with it as much as it's just a very hard-hitting truth that we've got to remember, is that going through the motions of I go to work, I have a job, and I put food on the table, and that's it. If you're just paying for your rent and or your mortgage, and you work a job and then you die, that's a fairly I don't know that I would use the word unsuccessful, untapped potential as far as the way that you're living your life. Like, what I would say is I want to raise my kids and even be a man who goes out and accomplishes something outside of just what's right in front of me by necessity. In other words, hey, I actually really want to pour even if it's a hobby, where it's like, I really like art and drawing or painting or something like that, and you start to get good at it and you put enough time into it, then you can make it either lucrative or inspirational to somebody else, and then you're actually making a difference.
Yeah, but that's the same thing. That still requires a certain amount of exposure early on.
No, it does. But see, that's what I'm saying is for the men. I guess I'm now changing gears slightly and aiming towards men at this point. To go, if you just are coasting through life by going, I'm just going to...
I was out of that.
Do essentially what I'm required to do. It's like, well, but what are you wanting to accomplish in your life? Because if it's nothing, that's literally...
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about, is half the battle is knowing.
Right, that's what I'm getting.
I don't know which of these attacks is hurting me the most, because every time I look at my health bar, it's worse. I mean, these are slow-moving projectiles, so I feel like the secret... Okay, maybe it's those that hurt more than I think. Because I gotta stop to throw the batarangs in the weird pod. Get away. No. Okay. Get him. Oh, come on, stay down. Come on.
Be Mother Nature, but she can destroy you.
Yeah, I don't think it's me that thinks that's weird. I think it's just weird. Okay, doing better, except I am low health, but... Oh, that was a risky one. No! Okay. Problem is... Oh boy, I'm not getting out of this. Woo! I did not think I was. No. Too much. No. Don't get in the weeds, Batman. I did not at all get hit by that. Get me out. No! I was in the middle of jumping. This is lame. I don't know what I was doing the first time, but I was doing it right. Get these stupid flies.
Sorry, love.
It's way too hot in here. Oh! You got spiders. There's spiders! Good grief. Get away. You got spiders all up in here. Ay. Well, tribute to the poor fan that we can't have on. It does its best while it's on, but as soon as it's off, it's as if it was never on.
I'm just trying to, I guess, change at least my own cultural
Well, that's all you can do.
shortcomings, I suppose is the word for it. Because I was even talking about, with my partner within the dojo, we were talking about the fact that with the culture that martial arts carries over is largely
Get out of there.
collectivist, I suppose you could say it like that. I mean,
I don't think I would. You can't jump into the weeds. I do not think collectivist is the word you'd want to use there.
I need help.
they're less individual, like in their cultural ideation, they're far less individual.
Okay, are you talking about martial arts or are you just talking about Asians?
Well, Asian culture in general is.
Yes, I wouldn't disagree with that, but you said martial arts, not...
Well, but because it comes from and is birthed.
Well, what you're talking about karate.
No.
Martial arts is not an exclusively Asian thing. Boxing is a martial art.
Yeah, but again, I'm talking about traditional martial arts. That would be
You're talking
Taekwondo.
I think you're being disrespectful to boxing to act like it's not it doesn't,
It's certainly
goes
not-
back to Greco-Roman days.
Sure.
That's about it. I think that qualifies as traditional.
Okay, so if you would like me to qualify it by saying Asian martial arts, then sure.
Well, yes, if you're going to describe Asian culture, then yes, you're going to have to specify that you mean Asian martial arts. Because you can't just say all martial arts are this way.
My point is, martial arts within the context of, traditional martial arts dojos that you would train at in a context.
Well, but see, that alone, dojo is a specifically
that's
karate-focused word. Like, they would call it something else if it was a different form, right, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I can't recall.
Well, so that's all I'm saying is you can't make these sorts of generalizations.
But, you can within the Asian culture. Again, what I'm suggesting is that they come at things from a different perspective in the way in which they frame their own contributions on a social responsibility level to the larger collective. So what I mean I was using it as an example to say, in the same way, I find that it's true that outside of Western culture, the concept of rites of passage and of family lineage and all these kinds of things, specifically for a boy becoming a man, are still very prevalent and emphasized.
But I don't know that that's, that may be a part of it. I don't know that has to be, though. I think you can have a concept of, such a concept and not have to be in a collectivist culture for that to matter.
I wasn't saying collectivist. I was saying...
You did say collectivist.
We're talking about, in the same way that there's a difference in how Asian cultures approach...
Well, yeah, but I'm saying Asian cultures are not the only cultures that have these concepts.
I never said that. What I was saying was I was comparing that on a collectivist level versus an individualist level on a Western level to all the other cultures that have a particular rite of passage moment in their sons or daughters' childhood growing up years to Western culture, where you go, Western culture really doesn't have those benchmarks.
Well, it absolutely did.
Well, then that's the question. When did that go away?
When everything went wrong, probably in the 60s.
Why, though?
The answer to that is unpopular, so I won't share it.
Wow.
But you certainly can't say that Western culture hasn't had these things. I think it's modern culture that doesn't have these things.
I'm not saying that they haven't had these things, hence why I started with the whole Indo-European thing. That's obviously where our Western culture came from. But what I am getting at, I guess, is that it is fallen out of...
Well, but I think that's a universal thing. I think it's a problem with modernity. I don't think it's Western culture.
Do you think so?
I don't know that the kinds of rites of passages you're describing, I don't think happen in Asia either. Like, you don't go leave your son out in the woods and tell him to survive for 2 days. I'm giving an example, but I'm saying that's the example you gave, and they don't do that either.
Again,
so
I wasn't talking about Asian...
You absolutely were!
Rites of passages.
You absolutely were. I don't think you heard what you were saying.
I absolutely did. I said I was using the Asian culture as a context for saying, here's how different cultures are... Our cultures are different.
Okay.
Asian cultures are very collectivist, and Western cultures are very individual.
Well, okay, so...
That's all I was saying. I wasn't even talking about their rights.
Well, then forgive me, but that's an absolute non sequitur if you're trying to go back to... It is, because it has nothing to do with rites of passages, so why did you bring it up?
Because it's different. Again, it's...
Well, okay.
It's two different things that...
Asian and Western cultures are different, therefore we should all have rites of passages. I don't see how those two are related.
Western, I was making the case that other cultures outside of Western culture have... held on to.
Right? Well, see, that's where I don't know that that's actually all that accurate.
I would say...
I don't think the Asian cultures have. I think they have also lost a lot of that. Now, the only places I think you find...
Are you...
Well, I'm just saying, perhaps it's a lack of knowledge, but I also think there's a certain degree of... I think it's a modernity versus tradition problem.
Sure.
And a lot of Asian cultures, despite holding more closely to their traditions, are still fairly modern.
Are they, though?
Yes, by comparison. Like, the kinds of rites of passages you're describing probably do still happen in parts of Africa.
Well, yeah.
And that's probably the only continent not truly ruined by modernity, for better and for worse. So I'm simply saying, I don't think that the Asian cultures have the kinds of things you're describing because they're Asian and they're more rooted with their traditions. I think it's more of a thing about modernity versus non-modernity. I don't know what you want to call that. And I do think,
Antiquity.
yes, and I do think most Asian cultures are still fairly modern. By modern standards, I think they're...
Well,
If you talk, yeah, because again, the kinds of things you're describing were the kinds of things that happened back in like tribal days, because like...
no, I'm not even talking tribal. I mean, I suppose you could call it that within the context of Norse and...
Yeah, at every culture, I mean, all cultures were tribal at one point. That's how culture starts.
Sure.
Help here, boy.
But I mean, one of the things that this particular podcast that I was listening to talked about was
Me from the evil
the notion of understanding your heritage first as a means of framing yourself in the world, which initially I was a little bit,
Gotham will be
I wouldn't say I was put off by, but I was like, I don't know that you need that, especially as a... But then what they made the case, essentially, was even if you're moving away from what your previous heritage was, you can be a chain or a curse breaker or, different direction, whatever, within generations by knowing what used to be.
Well, exactly.
That coming against.
You don't have to be limited by it, but you have to start from somewhere.
Right.
And you have to know where you're starting from.
Well, that's where I initially said, okay, or that's why I after thinking about it for a time, I went, okay, that is probably true, that heritage is an important thing. But then I went, okay, so if heritage is an important thing, I would want to go back to the rites of passages that at least had context within my family lineage. I mean, I don't know that is required, but like you could just say, hey, I want to latch onto this one thing because I really like it. But I find that it would be more valuable to go, hey, on a heritage level, what have we done in the past on an, like you said, on an antiquated level.
Well, I mean, if you have I would say you'd be better off looking less far than more far back in that context.
What do you mean?
It would be, because you could say, well, we are of this ethnic group, and therefore we're going to go back to the ancient rites of passage of that ethnic group. It's like, that's going to feel, I feel like that would feel foreign to a child. You'd be better off saying, actually, let's go back to, this is a thing my grandfather did. Let's do that, and let's make that a tradition and a sort of passage in and of itself.
Well, but
because that then has
what if there's a gap where that hasn't been done at all?
Well, if it hasn't been ever, like if you, then you basically have to make something up for yourself, and then then it can be whatever you want. But I would say it'd be best to look for something like that first, because then you could actually, I think it would feel less like an arbitrary, like we just kind of made this up thing, and more like most children at least know of their grandparents, even if they aren't alive when they're kids. There's at least pictures, you could at least let them know, you could at least talk to them about their grandparents. It would be harder to talk about the abstract concept of the Norse 1,000 years ago.
That's true, but did you have specific rites of passages that you could point to?
Not really. So I'm not saying that not everyone would have that, but I think it would be better to look first. And that might mean you have to ask, like, ask parents, ask grandparents, what did you do?
Right.
What was your dad like? Because knowing great-grandparents is a pretty rare thing.
That's true.
So if your grandparents are alive, ask them what their parents and grandparents did. Because that's something you probably will never have heard about.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Anyway, that was just something that was on my mind. So there's this particular podcast. It's not even a podcast. It's a YouTube channel / it's got all kinds of connected subgroups and things in it. But it's something I came across, and you probably, based on the fact that our history tends to be have at least come across a few of the videos.
Get away.
It's a manufactured.
That doesn't sound appealing to me.
Group of. It's essentially a fraternity, if you will, of men that are trying to say, hey, we want to better ourselves in the context of, being more proactive about manhood and about what a man can look like in a modern culture. And I
Seems
think
a
what
touch
it is men
generic.
trying-
What is that? What is it actually?
Well, it's men trying to regain
Finally.
masculine.
What do they call themselves? Well, I mean, this is a what?
So it's called Grim Brotherhood. I don't know if you've
I have
seen
not.
this, but did she get swallowed by it?
Oh, so did the first time this happened, it counted, and because we did this once already, and then we still had to keep fighting. So maybe did it save after that point? Oh, she got trapped inside of her own flower. And now the place is falling apart. See, this was the solution I wanted the other time. Let's just go out through the hole in the roof, Batman. Well, at least we did it this time. Didn't have to find out some weird puzzle with a grappling hook. Well, that was something at least. Oh, got fireworks. Alrighty then. We're getting to the point where none of these upgrades are particularly interesting. I guess this could be useful for the stealth things. Well, that was a particularly strange fight.
Anyway, this fraternity or brotherhood.
Yeah, I've not heard of this.
So if you haven't heard of it, it's fine. It initially, I was intrigued by the goal of it, but I felt like their approach was a little canned is the wrong word. It felt very. Again, it's manufactured. It's scripted. Like, so they have this guy that's like, we started this fraternity and you should be a part of it because, this is calling men back to manhood, essentially. And it's a cool idea. And honestly, I think that it needs to be existent, but not to that broad a level. I think it's a little bit like what...
Well, again, there's no one size fits all.
That talks about the whole... Gareth the bookshelf guy versus any whatever. It's a if you
get away.
widen your sphere so much that there's
You can't. I mean, the fact of the matter is you can't include everyone.
True, but like by definition, a group has to be exclusive in some context. Yeah, and so
And again, no one size fits all.
right. And so, I ended up not fully like following the group, but they definitely have some good stuff to mull on and kind of think through.
Whoa, mama!
Chief of which would
That actually got me.
He talks often about how you
Get out of
raise
here.
boys into men. It's like how you move from, even for yourself, how you move from being an irresponsible, childish kind of young adult that is wanting to just do their own thing to, hey, I'm responsible and want to actually be a contributing member of society. So, anyway, it's a decent listen for sure.
Take patient interview 17. Joker.
What was I going with that? I was talking about one of the other things I had heard on there, and it was.
I don't know.
It wasn't about the rite of passage concept.
It's about family lineage and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, the idea that is an important thing for us to know and to understand. And I mean, I always knew that, even within my own, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit trail specifically right now, because if you have...
That's a lot.
Again, would agree with me that it's a rabbit trail. But even in my own context for my family lineage, I even actually pitched this idea to Danica recently, where I'm like, Like, there's something about holding on to that that's important to me, where I go, I don't like the fact that my grandfather changed his name. I'm kind of sad that that's the case, because now I can't go back and actually have that be something that I get to carry. And I understand that his goal was to like rescue the name by changing it, or rescuing the family by changing the name. But I'm going, yeah, but wouldn't you rather redeem the name later on? I mean, I don't know. I considered legally changing my name, where I like hyphenated it to bring that name back into it or whatever, and just to go, that is an imperative thing. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not putting. How much stock do you really put into your own heritage?
Well, because the problem is, how far back can you go? It's it's the same thing. I mean, slight bird trail, but it's tangential. Since we're criticizing modernity, it's like, if you're really going to start talking about who's an indigenous person for any given continent, it's like, well, how far back do you go?
Well, sure.
Because you probably didn't start here either. No one started here, in fact. The first people here came from somewhere else. So how far back should we go? Because you might think you have a claim to it, but how do you? So it's like, there's a part of me that's sort of, it's similar, where you're going, I mean, in some cases, I guess if you could say, well, it was a fairly recent change, but I mean, I could go back to like the original Swedish version of my name, or Finnish, or whatever it was, but it's like, but that isn't the name I grew up with. It's not the name my dad grew up with. It's not the name my grandfather grew up with. So you could argue that it's, quote unquote, more traditional, but it still would be foreign to me and anyone in my current generation.
Well, I guess that's true. And that's kind of the argument that my wife made, which is that, well, now all your kids will have a slightly different name than you, which would be weird, which I agree.
So evidently because Joker's got apparently because Joker's got something planned for me, these guys aren't going to attack. Something tells me I should be suspicious. This is a little bit weird. By a little bit, I mean actually very. I am successfully unnerved.
Yeah, I mean, you've done obviously more research in your own family lineage than I have. Most of my research, unfortunately, comes from word of mouth from my own parents and grandparents.
This has gone into first person now.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Are you excited, Bats? I mean, we've been building up to this point all night. Don't tell me you've not been looking forward to
Menti was here? Monty. Oh.
Everyone always said I should be in television. You don't want to miss this, really. It'll be a blast. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Am I supposed to leave?
2, 1.
Was I supposed to just let that happen, or? Not like I got back far enough. What would happen if I had just left the room? This is weird being in first person. I just gotta fight more.
Loves his roid machines.
What?
Me? It was your plan, you goofy clown.
Is this like the final part of the game?
That would be kind of sad, wouldn't it?
I'm sending you back to the ventriloquist where you belong. You had to spoil everything, didn't you? Beating up Bane, feeding Scarecrow to Croc, slapping around Harley, my hobby, by the way, and ruining all my lovely Venom plants. It's over, Joker. Over? Why, my
Because I think he's the last one in the game, but I don't...
it hasn't even.
I mean, I guess it's... How many would this be? It's been several hours.
In mine, though, I still have the other ones.
Well, we've already played City.
So then it would just be...
Not Knights. Knights... There's... Oh no, that was called Gotham Knights, never mind. Arkham Knight, singular, was the last one in this. Then there was a trashy... Not even a sequel, it's made by a different studio that was called Gotham Knights, and it was terrible. But that's what I was thinking of, woohoo. I've already done this exact fight, though. Just 2 big guys and then a bunch of small guys. I was already locked into the animation. Okay, that was rude. Well, can I finish the rest of this fight with only 1 health point? Answer, doubtful. Okay.
Here's your answer.
Right as I was going in for the attack, he started. Well, you have another thing, or do you want to call it?
That's a sleeping.
I mean, I don't...
Someone.
That was at least one of the topics that I wanted to discuss. I don't know that I have much more that I was going to talk about within that context. That's just been something I've been mulling.
Well, I don't know that there's an easy solution to it, but I do recognize the problem, at
Well,
least.
and I don't ever feel, I guess, that I got somehow that I'm missing something. It's not like I am trying to go back and...
I never knew my father.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's just more that I go, I want to be far more intentional about raising my boys than I think modern culture is.
Well, modern culture isn't intentional about anything.
Yeah, exactly. You always ruin my throws, you rhinoceros.
Well, what did you think? He did come from across the room, though. I mean, he gave you a fair bit of notice.
Get out of their head punching range.
Already grossly hot in here. Jump, jump, jump! You're not jumping!
I did. I literally was pushing it the entire time, and anytime it slow-mos on me, it decides to just crap the bed.
Well, we only had one audio cut out for who knows how long and who knows how much frame rate issues there were. Hopefully there was no V-tearing. We swapped one problem for another. Maybe this one will be easier to fix if I look more into OBS and how to make different codecs or video formats work, but so far Linux is working out for me.
Well, there you go.
You should remember, when a massive corporation tries to screw you...
Revenge is not an idea we embrace in Linux.